Hey everyone, welcome to the 1804 show, chapter 2. I'm your host, Dollar Will, and this is another episode of 1804 history. And just wanted to say I thank everybody who watch, who tunes in, who support me and everything. And make sure y'all keep liking the videos, enjoying the content, and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell for future notifications. But yeah, tonight I'm going to talk about one of my heroes, DrKing, when he moved to Chicago, Illinois back in 1966. And what made me wanted to talk about it was just how everybody loves to disrespect DrKing. It just seemed like that thing down in Montgomery when they had that big fight and everybody was just talking about that one picture that circulated when DrKing was kind of faded out and you had the dudes on one side and the other dudes on the other side, and then people was talking about, oh, why DrKing there should be Malcolm X, and DrKing ain't do nothing. He was a coward. He didn't fight back. Malcolm X was right. So I wanted to kill that narrative. I wanted people to understand this man died for us, and this man was so young when this all happened. And a lot of people who disrespect the late, great DrKing wouldn't have had the balls to go through what he went through on a daily basis. And I just need for people to understand that the man been dead longer than he lived. This man still have children. This man has grandchildren. This man have great grandchildren. And people love to disrespect this man. So for people who does their research will know that DrKing traveled all across the country to fight for civil rights, to fight for equality and financial equality. Because back in them days, you couldn't imagine. Like, we think that we know, but we don't know for real. I would say, as far as change, we are able to live where we want to live. We are able to, attend the schools that we attend. We are able to get great opportunities, but people have to die for this, and people love to make false claims and pass false narratives on people who ain't here to defend themselves, and we the only ones that does this to our leaders. We the only ones that disrespect our leaders. And I was able to do my research with the documentary, The FBI versus MLK. It's a good documentary. I recommend it. It's on Hulu, but it just gives you the human side of Martin Luther King Jr. because everybody paint him as this godly figure, but we have to understand that this man was a human being. I don't judge what he did in his personal life, which was illegal anyway because of the fact that people was keeping him on surveillance, bugging his phones, having spies, agents to discredit him as a civil rights leader. And we have to keep in mind that we all have secrets. Nobody's perfect. Everybody done dirt. Everybody has dirt. So we have to look at things from a bigger scope. We have to look at things in a way that's mature. And we can't just discredit people who may have done some things in the dark. But hey, it wasn't no secret. His wife knew, but his wife still was loyal. And that's something that you women nowadays need to really take heed to. is the fact that he's so quick to leave a man, but this wasn't no ordinary man. This man was sent to fulfill a purpose. And we have to understand just how things were back in the 1960s. You know, there were really no black police officers like that. There really were no opportunities like that. So for him to go to Chicago, which he was invited, because one of his friends that he went to college with sent him a letter. It was like, hey Martin, would you like to come to Chicago and lead demonstrations and stuff? And he was like, sure. So not only that he brought himself, but he brought his wife, his kids, his cabinet, his LCLC organization. They pretty much relocated to Chicago in the winter of 1966 and started to meet with community activists and political leaders and in order to work on the slums neighborhoods. And he moved to 1550 South Hillman Avenue, which is the west side of Chicago. So he was in the hood, you know what I'm saying? And how many people will, well, I would say like a celebrity, because he was as big as the same equivalents to LeBron James and Barack Obama and people like, I don't know how many famous black men I can use as an example, but just imagine Denzel moving into the hood to help you, you know, with your problem, you know, help you get better housing and better living conditions, because they was paying rent, ridiculous prices to live in rat, roaches, bed bugs, no indoor plumbing and no heat, but they was paying this high rent where they lived. And DrKing moved into these rundown apartments, and he was cool. You know, he was visited by the neighborhood kids. He would play with the neighborhood kids, and he would actually go to these bars and shoot pool and mingle with the neighborhood people. So he made himself at home. Like, he wasn't ashamed to be a part of the community, which I respect, because, you know, you have all these organizations that talk about poverty and trying to do better and this and that, but they never once come into our neck of the woods and really understand what we go through and what we face and what kind of violence that be exhibited. But yet, you know, they want to help the poor. They want to give all these charitable organizations, but they never lived or been to where we've been. But that's why I will always respect DrKing for that, because he actually did something about it. You know, he was a doer, not a talker. But he faced a lot of scrutiny out of his old college buddies, because he went to Morehouse College and stuff like that. So his alumni, his frat brothers, was working with Mayor Daley and stuff, and Mayor Daley was getting on the news, was calling DrKing a liar, saying that, no, we don't have no slums, we don't have no problems in this city. And a whole lot of people in Chicago didn't like outsiders interfering in their city's business. And he had to really be an example of, you have to do something about this, because people were just, you know, being elected into the office and not doing anything with the black population, which was over 800,000 since the Great Migration. But just a whole lot of black people moved from the South all the way to Chicago and to other places in the United States to escape racism and escape lynching and the politics and the Jim Crow era. So they were just trying to search for a better life. So it was no jobs like that. There were no better opportunities, except pretty much going back into the poverty that they faced in the South. But they planned on 3 big marches. The first march they had was walking down 55th Street and stuff on the west side, and then the second march, which started in Gage Park and ended up in Marquette Park. And he said that out of all the places that he had been, sorry, just fixing my camera, but he said out of all the places that he has been, he had never exhibited so much hate and so much racism in this demonstration that he had. Because he said back in the South it was a couple hundred, but in Chicago he said it was close to 5,000 people coming out and yelling and throwing bricks and throwing bottles and fighting and turning over cars and setting them on fire and beating up marchers and a whole bunch of stuff. And he was hit in the back of the neck with a brick. And he said that, man, I've been hit so much I'm immune to it. So he was very optimistic about getting housing for the black people in that community and just really trying to build some type of alliance with the city council, the mayor's office, so they can try to do something about this unfair justice that's been proceeding before he got here. And then the last march was the march that everybody was looking forward to, was the march in Cicero. And Cicero, Illinois was practically a sundown town, which is considered to be a sundown town now, but they was really looking forward to that. The Chicago area was really looking forward to that march because you didn't go to Cicero. You know, you didn't have your car stop in Cicero or anything. You better not been stopped or caught in Cicero after dark. That's all I'm gonna say. But they totally be disingenuous when it comes to the racism that occurred, not just only in the South, but up north as well, because they want to make you believe that it was just racism or racism in the South, but really it was very covert up north, because that was really sneaky about things. They kept things hidden, they kept things low key, but there's really a whole lot of evidence stating that it was the same, but it was just diluted, but it was the same. And I just want everyone to understand that when they disrespect DrKing, you disrespect not only DrKing, but you disrespect the people that died for us and really made us into who we are today. Because they was really thinking about the unborn generations to come, the opportunities. Because they didn't grow up the way we grew up. We grew up with the opportunities to have a better education, to have a better jobs, to have better living conditions and better opportunities. And when you disrespect DrKing, like, I have a problem with that, because that's some coward shit. I don't respect fuck shit. And we have to just keep in mind that this man wasn't an old man. He was only 39 years old. And at this time, he was only 36 years old. And how many of you 35 or 36-year-olds doing what Dr. King is doing today. Y'all wouldn't have the courage or the balls or the fortitude to be able to lead marches and to be a speaker, to be dependable, and to be able to go through the terrorism that this man went through in his everyday life. Just imagine going from 26 all the way to 39, looking over your shoulder, being threatened, being harassed, being assaulted on a daily basis so your people can get voting rights and citizenship rights. We haven't had that amount of citizenship rights. Only been 55 years since we was able to vote and able to integrate into better neighborhoods and stuff like that. And it wasn't that long ago. So we have to stop being so damn foolish and stop weighing on our heroes who sacrificed themselves, and just be very mindful of what we talk about. But that's why I will always respect Dr. King, because Dr. King, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Jimmy Lee Jackson, James Chaney, and all of them who gave up their life for us. And that will include today's episode. And I just wanted to thank everybody who tuned in. I appreciate you guys. And keep liking, keep subscribing, keep supporting. I'm out. Have a good night. Peace.